of people say to me, Bruce, tell me more about you, particularly about your Ghanaian heritage. But this is Scotland History Tours. I couldn't do that unless I told you about the Scotsman who made Ghana what it is today. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and ring the notification bell to be told when I upload new videos. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. When I mentioned to somebody that I was coming to Ghana, he asked if I'd have a bodyguard. I laughed. I've never felt less than 100% safe in Ghana. Now, I think that's partly because of the man who'll feature in this video, but it's also because of the Ghanaian people from whom I sprung. It's 20 years since the passing of my father, Vincent Drakojo Fumi. So it's a memorial weekend. I won't lie, I'm way more Scottish than Ghanaian. As the finest comedian on the Afro-Celtic comedy circuit, my jokes are more Ochterarder than Accra. Fortunately, the service is in the local Presbyterian church. It's just like the Presbyterian church in Scotland. Well, okay, so Scottish folks aren't quite as happy when the collection plate comes round. But apart from that, today the family are the focus of what I can only describe as a super spreader event. The point is, people are brilliant and Ghana is safe. And as the family commemorate my dad's passing, I'm sure many would credit safety and democracy to a man who, like me, had one Scottish parent and the other an Ewe from Ghana's Volta region. Let me tell you the story in a quiet bar. Okay, so I've got stuff in common with this hero of Ghana. His mum and my dad are related, from the same region, in villages either side of the Kata Lagoon. But he grew up here in Accra, and I grew up in Perth, Scotland. He became a West African military dictator, and I became the finest comedian on the Afro-Celtic comedy circuit. Aye, who's laughing now, Jerry? James Ramsey John was a pharmacist from Castle Douglas in Kirkcudbrightshire. From what I can tell, in 1935 he came to the Gold Coast, as it was then, with his wife to work as an expat. Immigrant labour. 6 years later, he began a clandestine relationship with an Ewe woman, continuing for another 6 years until she fell pregnant with a son that she would name Jeremiah Rawlings John. She maintained his Scottish name, although James John, with no children with his wife, refused to acknowledge this one son that he did have for fear of scandal. Some say Jerry Rawlings John was a rebellious youth. In fact, in Ghana, opinions are divided to this day about J.J. Rawlings' legacy. Right, I've just called him J.J. Rawlings. At the age of 20, he joined the Ghana military to train as a pilot. Now that involved a trip to the colonial motherland in the RAF. Some administrator assumed that John must be his Christian name, Rawlings his surname, mistranscribed it, and from then on, Jerry Rawlings John became Jerry John Rawlings. JJ was born. Now, having discovered that his estranged father now worked in a chemist shop in Dalbeattie, he travelled north to Scotland. But when Rawlings asked after his dad in the shop, the old pharmacist behind the desk said that Mr. John had moved away long ago. And he took that long train back to London. He suspected that the man he had met was in fact his father. As the first black African nation to gain independence, celebrated in this square in 1957, Ghana was a beacon to the rest of Africa. It was well educated, prosperous, and produced most of the world's cocoa. The first president, Kwame Nkrumah, wanted to build Ghana's infrastructure. Hence, the young Vincent Fumi was sent to study aeronautical engineering near Perth. Nkrumah had a grand idea about a Pan-African Union, but knew independent nations and peoples didn't all agree. Socialism, capitalism, enrich the continent, the country, the people, or yourself. Long story short, there were a series of civilian governments, military coups, foreign interference, corruption in high places. And in 1979, Ghana was in a mess. Our fourth military government had taken over from the corrupt previous military government. Ordinary people struggled to buy basic items. Monopolistic market traders hoarded to inflate before releasing goods to exorbitant prices. And military hierarchy had salted away cash abroad. Power was about to be handed back to civilian government, and nobody was going to be held accountable for the corruption that had brought a nation to its knees. JJ's wife tells how she needed to hide family food rations because of his tendency to give their own food to the needy. But his first overt action comes to us in a story when the military ruler, Acheampong, was hosting distinguished guests at a reception at Osu Castle. If you believe the tale, then as the toffs hobnobbed, a military jet came out of the sky in a plunging dive towards them. You can imagine the panic. Even when the jet pulled out of the close-range nosedive and everyone was safe, there were red, if not frightened faces. When Chairman Acheampong had the pilot brought for interrogation, JJ Rawlings replied, "I just came to salute you as Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces." Sir. Aye, right. I'm not driving. On the 15th of May, 1979, Rawlings' actions became more consequential. He and 6 other junior officers attempted a coup. Now, from what I've read, it all seemed a bit cobbled together. They were arrested and charged for treason that would see Rawlings sentenced to death. But the mistake that the authorities made was that, wanting to send a warning to others, they held the trial in public. As the court outlined Rawlings' motives and actions, what the prosecution saw as evidence against them, the public thought revealed a man of integrity who understood the problems everyday Ghanaians faced. By the time that he'd been sentenced, there was a public clamour for JJ. On the 4th of June 1979, as he awaited execution, a group of soldiers from 5th Battalion Infantry Brigade broke into the prison, ordered him out and took him to Broadcasting House to announce the revolution. Now let's be clear, this was a revolution with some of the unsavoury methods that you might expect. A fair few executions and even more imprisonments of previous leaders who'd embezzled, market traders who'd inflated prices, and those who worked for their own ends at the expense of the ordinary people. But what of the handover to civilian multi-party democracy that had been promised by the previous military junta? Rawlings honoured that. His regime only ruled for 112 days, and after house cleaning, an exhortation to continue the good work and warning that the people would be watching, on the 24th of September, he handed over power to civilian government and went back to being plain old Flight Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings, pilot. An unusual military dictator, wouldn't you say? Did the government of Hilla Liman continue the good work? Or did they unwind what had been done and return to corruption in high places? I think you can guess. On the first anniversary of the June the 4th revolution, Rawlings was to speak at a symposium held at the Accra Community Centre. But an estimated crowd of 200,000 was far too big to be accommodated. So he gave his address from the rooftop as supporters thronged the park outside. When he finished, the chanting crowd marched to Osu Castle, the venue for Rawlings' aeronautical dive, where it all started a few years before. Rawlings had to go. His family and collaborators were put under close surveillance, and he was dismissed from the army. He was now without a position, but not without a role. His campaign for the common man continued. At the following year's anniversary, he told gathered press, as if it were by design, the practical achievements of the June the 4th revolution have consciously been wiped out. The little benefits that were open to the ordinary man have evaporated, leaving us once again in the unsympathetic hand of the economic vampires in our society. I wish to use this forum to call on all Ghanaians who are today suffering from the jackboots of our economic tormentors that they should not despair. 6 months later, on Hogmanay 1981, Rawlings and his movement staged a new takeover. As they entered barracks and took power, soldiers, civilians and students demonstrated, rejoiced and danced in the streets. Rawlings asked for a revolution that would transform the socio-economic structures of the country. He said that he was prepared to face the firing squad if what he had initiated wasn't acceptable to the majority of the people. I wonder if Keir Starmer would offer that. Kemi Badenoch? Trump. My first experience of Ghana was in 1984, during that revolutionary period of Rawlings' military rule. Now, I'd been to Nigeria before, where my dad worked in Lagos. But Accra couldn't be more different. In Lagos, you do always feel like you need a bodyguard. In Ghana, people were poor. Things weren't perfect. In fact, they were scarce. But people felt safe. And people I met thought that the regime was interested in saving the country rather than siphoning cash. On that visit, I came here to the National Stadium for an Alpha Blondy reggae concert, during which the crowd chanted, "Long live J.J. Rawlings, long live J.J. Rawlings." It was euphoric. This week, I returned to see Ghana lose 2-1 to Niger. That was shite. Will we go? The second major event of my visit was my sister's knocking. Let's call it a wedding ceremony for simplicity's sake. Now, given that the bloke making the knock is a jock for Edinburgh, I had to take on the Ghanaian side of my heritage in deciding if he'd done enough to keep the family happy. Of course, the whole family would have to agree for them to live happily ever after. For Rawlings, in 1992, the whole Ghana family was asked what they wanted going forward. And with a bit of pressure from the World Bank, they chose a democratic future. J.J. Rawlings was elected to the 2 terms allowed by the Constitution brought forward during his rule. And then he stood down. Not a normal military dictator, would you say? 3 days before the super spreader event that was my dad's memorial service was the 2nd anniversary of Rawlings' death. He died during COVID, a few short weeks after his mother's funeral, which turned out to be the super spreader event that would cut his own life short. The everyman military dictator died like ordinary men, succumbing, like many others, during the times of COVID. The current outgoing president, Akufo-Addo, having reached the end of his second term, commissioned and unveiled an elaborate statue of himself to great controversy. Rawlings made no such grand statement, and the country lacks a monument to its longest serving leader. 2 weeks after I leave, Ghana will face a new round of democratic elections. When I ask family, they all expect elections to be free and fair. However he started, this is Rawlings' legacy. Unlike places such as the US, Ghana is a country where power is handed over peacefully. But democracy hasn't stopped corruption creeping back into politics. Some say it's caused it. I've heard folks say we need another J.J. Rawlings. Where is J.J. Rawlings now? He lies here. Now, this isn't intended to be an unbiased, a political or apolitical analysis. It's just me telling you something about the Ghanaian side of my heritage and the Scotsman who made Ghana what it is today. Born, like me, of Scottish and Ewe parents, J.J. Rawlings twice took power by force and twice handed power back to the people through democratic elections. That's pretty unusual in anyone's book. I've made videos about other Scotsmen who've made a huge impact on the world. I've also made a video that looks at my DNA and works out how Scottish and how Ghanaian I am. If you want to see it, click the link coming up on screen now. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, Hami and Dochis can be a llama alive. Sherry and Rasta.